So we all have places, specific places that we have to be arriving at a certain time. From the quote that I chose was, "The trouble with being punctual is that nobody's there to appreciate it," by Jones. I disagree with it. So today I want to talk about why I disagree with it. Arriving at a specific place, everyone appreciates it because if you set up a time that you have to be there, it's because you know. Well, let's say for an example, you're planning an event with others. So you can't be arriving like 10 minutes before the event starts. So you have to be, depending what time it starts, like 2-3 hours earlier. You have to set up and do all, if you're running places, games, it depends what event. You can't be there all like before just before it starts, or like just looking at it. You have to test it out or be sure that that everything's gonna be running clear, being good. So that's why I disagree with that quote. And also another an example would be like, it's mostly every guys. You're going on a date, and then you have to go pick up your girlfriend. So you have to go to the house and you pick them up, but sometimes they're not ready. So then you're at your car, you're just waiting by passing the time. So you like, well, I do this, like I call them if she's ready, like then I just go, depending, like if there's any places like close by, like let's say a gas station, I go get something to drink, or by like letting time run, like for letting her to get ready. But I think that arriving at a specific time is important. Everyone should appreciate what you do because you're like putting your effort to do, like let's say you have to you have other things you have to do, so you put those out of your way so you could be arriving at a specific time. And I think that's important. Everyone should appreciate that you're putting your effort to be there at the time you're like committing to. So today I explain why I disagree with the quote. The trouble with being punctual is that nobody is there to appreciate it.
All right, Eduardo. The shared behavior as an attention device is okay. I think you could use a real example there instead of just kind of talking about it in the abstract. But you had a very clear statement of what your thesis was. I think you need to lay out a structure for us to help. But the examples that you have, you've got a couple of good examples that you developed pretty well. And I think that helps you, that you know what you're talking about, at least on one of those examples, and you actually kind of enjoy that, because I think that adds a little bit to the presentation. I was putting down facial expressions. And I like the way that you kind of laughed and smiled naturally when you were talking about getting there and your girlfriend's not ready, and you know how obvious it is that people are going to kind of react to that. They understand it. And that's when you look the most natural when you're speaking, because you look like you're just another person having a conversation with the audience. And that's kind of the way you want to come across most of the time, instead of being overly serious or kind of passive. You want to seem engaged, and that's the section where you seem most engaged, even though maybe it wasn't always perfect and your eye contact wasn't always perfect. You seemed a lot more natural in those circumstances. I think your voice projects really well. The pacing, you do slow down occasionally and pause when you are stuck for an idea. You usually get going again, but that's something that is noticeable. Your gestures, I want to give you good credit for getting the topic out of your hand while you were speaking and then, pulling it back out when you needed it. I thought that was a good thing to do. However, you do have a tendency to wash your hands while you're giving the speech. It's a lot of people do those sorts of things with their hands, and so you were doing that a little bit. So you want your gesture to be maybe a little bit more deliberative. That looks like it's anxiety. Also, I think there's some anxiety in the way you're shifting your weight so regularly. It's not quite swaying, but it is. It's very rhythmic while you're doing it, and it just feels like it's not quite the rocking thing that we were talking about earlier, but it's a little bit different, and it does seem like it's anxiety rather than it's part of being natural and emphasizing ideas. Let's see. I liked at the end of the speech that you came back to the point that you were trying to make, and that's usually a good exit line. Thank you.